Why were 80s floppy disks so often incompatible? Imagine trying to swap a file with a friend and suddenly realizing your disk just won't open on their computer. That was a common scene in the 1980s when floppy disks ruled the tech world. Back then, computers didn't always play nicely with each other, especially when it came to floppy disks. The main reason was that different companies used their own ways to store and read data on these disks. For example, Apple used a special encoding called group code recording and a file system called hierarchical file system for their 3.5-inch disks. Meanwhile, IBM personal computers and compatibles used modified frequency modulation, encoding and the file allocation table system. These differences meant a disk formatted on an Apple computer often couldn't be read by an IBM PC without extra software or hardware. Even within the same brand, compatibility wasn't guaranteed. Early IBM computers used single-sided disks with a capacity of 160 kilobytes, but as technology advanced, double-sided and higher-density disks appeared. If you tried to put a high-density disk into an older drive that only supported low density, the drive simply wouldn't recognize it. Conversely, writing data on a high-density disk with a newer drive could make it unreadable on older drives because the magnetic strength used was different. Physical differences also played a role. The 5.25-inch disks were fragile, with a thin plastic shell and an exposed area that could collect dust easily. The 3.5-inch disks had a sturdier case and a sliding metal shutter, but they came in various types like single-sided, double-sided, double-density, and high-density. Each type needed a compatible drive to work properly. Regional differences added to the confusion. Computers in Europe or Japan sometimes used formats that weren't common in North America, making sharing disks across borders tricky. All these technical and physical differences made exchanging data a challenge. But it also created a sense of community, as users learned tips and tricks to get their disks to work. Sometimes, they'd use special programs to convert files or even modify drives to read foreign disks. That era of computing was full of surprises and hands-on problem solving. So, the incompatibility of 1980s floppy disks came down to competing standards, evolving technology, and physical differences. It was a hassle, but it also made sharing and working with disks an adventure.